Good evening. Well, it's almost become a running story now. 31 goals in the First Division on the opening day of the season a fortnight ago, 34 last Saturday, and today a grand total of 35 from the 11 First Division matches. And we pick up some of that First Division excitement tonight with Ipswich against Everton.
Nice ball forward from Burley to Mariner. He's got Brazil over the far side and Gate supporting him. Mariner's shot.
Also tonight from the Third Division, Walsall against Brentford, a game really bristling with goals. And our main match sees Tommy Langley, now of Queen's Park Rangers, going back to Chelsea, the club he left just 2 weeks ago. But before the action, the major football headlines tonight from Jim Rosenthal.
And Kevin Keegan's among the goal scorers, his first for Southampton, but then he's injured against Birmingham City. Manchester City's Steve McKenzie is probably a bit embarrassed by his achievement, a goal for both sides at Ayresome Park. Liverpool and Nottingham Forest score 9 goals between them. But two managers in trouble this evening. Jimmy Adamson of Leeds, mounted police have to clear another demonstration by fans after the home defeat by Leicester, and Arvin Griffiths of Wrexham, who gets the red card for dissent. Arsenal beat Tottenham in the North London derby. Frank Stapleton on target again, his 5th goal in 5 games.
And indeed, Frank Stapleton is one of our guests in the studio tonight. But now let's start with the action at Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea, without a win so far this season, took on Queen's Park Rangers, managed, of course, by the former Chelsea boss, Tommy Docherty. Two clubs who will be looking for a good run in the second division this season. And for Tommy Langley, it was a very special day.
A fortnight ago, Tommy Langley was on the Chelsea team sheet for their opening game of the season. And then came his move to Queen's Park Rangers, and Tommy fears for a hostile reception from the disappointed Chelsea fans today. He says he's not slept too well for the worry of it all, but he's getting a welcome there at any rate from a photographer. I think he can expect no favours today from his best chum in football, Chelsea's Clive Walker. They were almost inseparable on and off the field while they were here together at Stamford Bridge. This then is the Chelsea side. A late change. Mickey Droy, the big defender, has got slight ligament trouble in his left leg. It's an old injury, and he finds it hard to play 2 games a week early in the season on hard grounds. Colin Pates takes his place. Colin Viljoen comes into the midfield, and Colin Lee comes in up front. Queen's Park Rangers, meanwhile, well, Tommy Docherty has never fought shy of pitching youngsters into the battle, so 17-year-old Wayne Faraday is back in the attack today after a touch of flu, and another 17-year-old Warren Neal is the substitute. Another Chelsea old boy back here today, of course, is Steve Ricks, who played over 100 league games here for Chelsea. To say nothing of Ken Shillito, puffing away at a cigarette there, who was not only a player but also a manager here at Chelsea. And the referee today is Brian Daniels from Brentwood. And it's Queen's Park Rangers then, who kick off attacking the goal to our right in a train strip today of red and white half shirts and black shorts. Chelsea in all blue. Long throw, and Wicks have gone up for it. Barota with a safe catch. Chivers, fouled by Waddock. A clumsy one. I don't think it was any more intentional than that. It's only 18. Gary Waddock, already played 3 times for the Republic of Ireland. Phil John with the free kick. Lee with the header. And Rhoda grateful to be able to hook that one away before Colin Pates came in. So Fillery will take the throw. Chris Woods, the Rangers keeper. Played for Walker. Oh, that's played too hard for Rove. And again, Rangers, well, they came out with speed and discipline, and again caught Chelsea a little bit sleepy coming out there. Gillard. Rangers throw. Here's Langley. Way down there for Curry. The dive of Barota foiled him. Curry played that ball just a little too powerfully. It was a nice little chest down though by Langley. Rofe. that's no problem, except that McCreary then almost gave it away to Walker, just recovered in time. And they're making trouble for themselves there, QPR. Now Viljoen again for Chelsea. Chivers coming forward, Langley coming back at him. Oh, it'll come for Walker. No foul, and Rick slides in to make the clearance for QPR. Crowd encouraged though by that little flurry from Chelsea, and it's with Fillery. Faraday. And Waddock going in again, and Walker letting one go from a long way out. Woods couldn't hold it. A real rasping left foot shot there by Clive Walker. Made that little bit of a space for himself and hit powerfully enough for Woods not to be able to get it first time. And now Curry, McCreary. Free kick, the foul by Fillery. Tony Curry played there for Langley. Just look how closely Nutton, who's marking him, has really stuck to that job well. Faraday, Waddock, and Shanks playing it in there towards Langley. Well, he's come back here and he's silenced the crowd that's booed him with a goal for QPR after 17 and a half minutes. The crowd is stunned by that. Langley's first goal for Queen's Park Rangers, and it's come at the place he would want it to be, and the QPR supporters are delighted with that. They're not. It was a lovely cross by Shanks. Played out wide there. Don Shanks playing it in there. Langley in there. The marking not too good. Barota came and then stopped for a moment, and there's the ball in the back of the net. Tommy Langley making it Chelsea 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Wicks with a header. Britain planting it forward again towards Clive Walker. Well, there were people who were available, and Waddock went into him in the end. And I think Gary Waddock will go and have a name taken and gets, as you see, a yellow card from referee Brian Daniels. Well, I must say Walker was inviting that sort of challenge. It doesn't condone it by any means, as Waddock goes in there. Well, he was a mile away from the ball, but the thing that astonishes me is how it was that Clive Walker hadn't played it off before that. Now can Chelsea pull back that Tommy Langley goal? It's with Wilkins, driven a long way there, and a chance there for Lee. Oh, and he missed his kick, and at the second time it was saved well by Woods. Well, Lee missed his kick, and that's not the first time that Chris Woods hasn't gathered the ball at the first go, as Graham Wilkins hammers one in there from some 30 yards, and it looked as though Lee might get that one, and when he got it the second time, Woods pushed it away. So here's the corner with Walker taking it, curling right in there. Fillery, and a Chelsea throw. Nutton played in for Lee, played on first time by Britain. Wicks is there for Queen's Park Rangers. Curry. Well, he almost gave that to Lee, and Roda was able to make the repairs. Shanks getting in there, very forthright indeed, and Langley on the chase again. Nutton's there with him. He's got Faraday waiting in the middle. Played nicely by Langley for Faraday, and Langley coming in, and Faraday, no! Somehow they kept it out. That was amazing. It was some tremendous play there in the first place by Tommy Langley. And it looked a surefire second goal. He's so aware that Faraday's there, pulls it back superbly for him. Chelsea make the challenge. Langley comes in there again. Somehow Barota saves it, and then it's cleared away that time by Chivers. Waddock, Roda, Curry, David McCreary. Shanks. And just onside again is Wayne Faraday. Back for Curry. And a bit of space there for Waddock or for Shanks to close in on it. It's Waddock, in fact, who finds Shanks. Burke coming in with a little guided header now for Langley. And Curry trying to curl one, and Barota turning it away. Tony Curry's speciality, of course. Balls hit with a curl. And there with the outside of the right boot, curling around the Chelsea defender. That would have just gone inside the post, but for the dive of Barota. So Rangers with a corner, which Curry will take. Wayne Faraday, the number 7, going across there also. Now it's with Curry again. Rangers get the throw. Good long throw there again, but nothing getting there for Chelsea. Walker, but Waddock there. Nice little touch there by Burke, but Waddock presenting Chelsea with a goal kick. Rofe. That'll skid through forwards. McCreary. Shanks. Lee trying to do a dummy there, and quite rightly getting a free kick. It was obstruction by Ian Gillard. Well spotted by the referee. And it's with Ian Britton. Cleared by McCreary. Britton again, doing so much running, little Ian Britton, number 7 here to try and get his side going. And Rofe didn't quite beat the offside trap there. His run wasn't quite timed, but that's maybe the way to do it, is to get somebody from deep to make a well-timed run. As the ball was played, in fact, it wasn't Rofe offside, it was someone trying to come back from an offside position. Rofe was perfectly okay. Waddock, it's a touch for Burke. And that's Rofe just flicking that wide of Langley for the Rangers throw. Shanks with the throw. Here's Curry. He could cause mischief in that sort of position, and he just got that up and away. But there's Waddock, and a great save there by Barota from Gerry Waddock. Yeah, they really hadn't done all that well in defence. And the challenge by Roeder a little too fierce on Lee, and he's almost wrestled to the floor there by Glenn Roeder, being given a few words of advice by Tony Curry, but I think the referee will also want to have a word with Glenn Roeder just to calm it down. But let's have a look at that. Save by Barota. Curry did so well. That wasn't a very good headed clearance, and Waddock really took advantage of that situation, hit it superbly. What a good piece of keeping. And here come Rangers again, as Curry tries to get Langley on his way. And certainly Langley has caused this Chelsea defence a little bit of trouble. He's always been a great runner. I think in a way it's sad that the fans have been booing him today, because he ran his legs off here for Chelsea for a number of seasons. A real wholehearted player. And here's Langley again. Oh, and another good piece of keeping there by Barota, as Langley whipped round on that one and got it down by the post. And he's turning on the ball and giving himself half a chance all the time, Tommy Langley. Rofe. Queen's Park Rangers have a really good record against Chelsea. Chelsea have won only one of the last 10 league games these two clubs have played. And in fact, it was a 2-0 victory here for QPR at the beginning of April that really, in many ways, killed off. That was the one vital result that killed off Chelsea's promotion prospects. And here they are, leading at half-time by 1-0. And the storybook quality of the first half is, of course, that it was Tommy Langley, only a fortnight ago, a Chelsea player, who scored the only goal with that header. Got a fair amount of booing from the crowd, and I suppose he would say that's the best way to answer them. So the half-time score then here at Stamford Bridge is Chelsea 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. So Chelsea get us away at the start of the second half, anxious to make good the goal that Tommy Langley scored for QPR in the first half. I think one of the things they've got to do straight away is to get some of their midfield men in more forward attacking positions in the way that Curry and young Gary Waddock and Don Shanks have been doing in the first half of Queen's Park Rangers. And certainly Ian Britton is one man who will need to inspire his Chelsea team during the next 45 minutes. Langley off once more, and that time it was Colin Pates, but it's Waddock playing the ball through for Faraday, and he quickly thought that he would just chest it down. That was a good bit of thinking by the 17-year-old. Now the ball with Langley again. He's gone past Rove. A good cross called for. Faraday trying to get on the end of it. Burke is right in there. Chelsea were in a bit of a muddle there for a moment, and they get it away now to Graham Wilkins. Walker, who's got the dash and the verve up front to save them if only he can find the right sort of run and the right sort of service. Colin Vildren with the throw. Here's Wilkins, played in again for Walker. A little touch by him for Britton. And Gillard bringing him down. A free kick to Chelsea. In there towards Lee, and a great save there by Chris Woods from Ian Britton. Well, that was a case of a midfielder getting into a good shooting position, and Woods was equal to it. So that's why it's a corner. Cross there, and Wicks getting it away. 1-1. And the ball crossed in there by Graham Wilkins, and they didn't make a very good fist at getting this away, Rangers, to be honest. It wasn't a very good header. Fell invitingly and hit on the volley there by Gary Chivers. 1-1. Well, that will really open up the game now. Waddock, Curry, tapping it through the midfield there, finding Shanks on the far side, played in forward again towards Langley. Oh, my word, and he's missed it. And Barota, you can see the goalkeeper there absolutely furious there with his defender Mickey Nutten. And certainly out of nothing, it suddenly looked as though Queen's Park Rangers have got a beautiful opening for a second goal. As Langley went in there, past Barota, past Nutten, but also past the post. Chivers, the goal scorer, played wide for Rowe. There's a bit more urgency about Chelsea now in this second half, as there needed to be. That'll fall for Stephen Burke. Young winger from Nottingham Forest. He had a lot of pace to him, and he lost his way a little bit there, and then gives it to Britton. Played inside for Fillery. Walker's up there supporting him, and Lee's up there too. Fillery with the shot, and he might get another one. Now playing it to Walker, onto the left foot, and somehow right at the last it was Shanks who got back there to clear the lines for QPR. And that's got him shouting again up there in the shed. And certainly Chelsea looked to be in a good possession when the ball suddenly found itself on the left foot of Clive Walker. But a good piece of defence by Don Shanks in the corner for Chelsea. Colin Viljoen with it. Played in low there, and he'll get another go. A little more height on that one. Wicks getting it away, but not very far. Lee turning it back there, but a goal kick. So it's a good atmosphere. And a promising conclusion to this game. The 10 minutes of the second half gone, and Chelsea back at 1-1. As though it must bring a second goal, and suddenly Walker too high for Wicks, and look how well he timed his run. A bit of acceleration there, took it well as Woods came out, but wide of the goal. Wilkins back to Barota. And Colin Lee, as everybody remembers, scored 4 goals in his first game at Tottenham. That was against Bristol Rovers. A free kick to Chelsea. So the wall is there. That's the view of Chris Woods. Phil John behind this free kick. And hit superbly! Well, the man who a week ago wanted a transfer is now embraced by his goalkeeper and club captain, who ran nearly half the length of the field to say, well done, what an amazing free kick. But no, as this slow motion, as we see again now, is an indirect free kick. And Viljoen hits it straight into the net, so it's been disallowed. Still 1-1. And Stephen Burke's going off for Queen's Park Rangers, who are bringing on their substitute, Warren Neal. There goes Burke. On the far side there, the 17-year-old substitute, Warren Neal, for Queen's Park Rangers. Waddock playing it in there for Langley. Nicked on there for Wayne Faraday, the 17-year-old, but surrounded by Chelsea men. Still gets his shot in. To look for a moment as though suddenly it was going to come for the young Birmingham boy. Turned and shot, but screwed it wide of Barota's goal. And Chelsea are taking off Clive Walker. Few boos from the crowd for that, bringing on John Bumstead. QPR sensing that just a few seconds remaining, with the crowd flooding away now, but a point is theirs. Oh, this is a blatant bit of time wasting now. Wicks finding Gillard. Planted forward again as the final whistle goes. It's a 1-1 draw. Tommy Langley having scored for Queen's Park Rangers in the first half. And Rangers, I suppose, will be happy with an away point. It also means that Chelsea, there's Tommy Langley. It means also, of course, that Chelsea have still to register their first win of the season, but at least that goal in the second half from Gary Chivers provided them with a point at least. So a final score then here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1.
So a draw it is, and before you write to me asking about that worn strip through the centre of Stamford Bridge, well, of course, that was the wicket for the recent night cricket match between Essex and the West Indies. And before we meet Tommy Langley, scorer for Queen's Park Rangers, and Chelsea manager Geoff Hurst, let's just clear up that free kick goal by Colin Viljoen that was disallowed. I must say it caught a few of us on the hop, me included. But there you see quite clearly the referee with his arm aloft. It was an indirect free kick. It means it's got to touch somebody on the way. Whether Colin Viljoen just didn't see that arm aloft or not, but he hit it very, very cleanly. And you saw in the body of the game there, the camera behind the goal, that Chris Wood's very, very nearly got a touch to it that would have made it a legitimate goal, but not quite that touch. Good performance too by the referee, I thought, Brian Daniels of Brentford today. But now what about Tommy Langley? Well, he came back to a chorus of boos from the Chelsea fans, but his answer couldn't have been more effective. But just what did that goal mean to him?
No, it's great, you know. Yeah, it's all in my wildest dreams to get that goal. You know, it was I had restless night Wednesday, thinking about the game, and it's fantastic. You know, couldn't have wished for a better start really. It's just a pity I couldn't put the second one away in the second half. You know, just tried to clip it past Peter, but just drifted away at the last moment. You know, and away it went. So.
Because you were worried about the reception you were going to get from
Yes, that's right. I mean, they're always a bit hostile here to the visitors anyway, but especially when you know them or they know you. And I've been here for 6 years as an apprentice and a pro, and it's bound to be a bit of ill feeling, I think.
Yes. I think they may have been a bit upset that you'd said that you thought there was a better chance of getting into the first division at Rangers than here, is that?
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, I can only say what I feel, you know.
Of course I don't agree with that, naturally. QPR are one of the favourites today, but we've proved second half that we can be as good as them. I think the problem we've got at this club, in many respects, and that's the players, that we don't believe that we're good enough.
But it means you still haven't won a game this season.
It means we haven't won a game, but I like to look at it, we've only lost one game. Looking at the points that we picked up, we're trying to talk to the lads and say we're better off we were this time last year in many respects. We didn't get a point against QPR, which we have got. We dropped one against Wrexham, but we picked one up against Shrewsbury. The Derby game we lost, unfortunately. And this is how I've got to think, and this is how I've got to get this through to the players.
You wouldn't mind seeing that goal again, I suppose?
Well, that's right, yeah, I'd like to...
Don Shanks' cross, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah, it was a lovely little ball. It hung up more than I wanted it to, you know. I had to wait a little bit, and then I tried to get some power behind it, but it ended up to be more of a flick.
It hung up a little bit, and you noticed that Peter Barota, in fact, stopped and started there. Maybe he was...
That's right, well, perhaps he was expecting more power.
Yeah, we just had a chat in the dressing room, and Peter Barota blamed Tommy Langley for the goal. I think in saying that in his Yugoslavian accent, he felt that he'd misheaded it slightly.
What was it like being with your former mates on the field there?
Oh, we had a few laughs in between, you know, a few free kicks. When Clive got kicked down there, I was a bit concerned for him, yeah. You know, I hope he's all right, but... you know, he's a good mate of mine. Most of them are good mates of mine anyway. I've not got any ill feeling with them, and I still hope they do well. If they go up, you know, hope we go up with them.
Fancy that's the first of many goals that Tommy Langley will be getting for QPR. All right, our second game tonight. For that, we go to the third division. In fact, we pick up another West London club, Brentford, and their visit today to Walsall. Brentford with a new management team as well. Ron Harris, of Chelsea fame, of course, now the number 2, to the new Brentford manager, Freddie Callaghan, who had most of his playing days at Fulham. So, Walsall against Brentford. The pictures are from ATV. The commentator's Hugh Johns. Walsall in the white shorts.
Good jump by Salman. Harris whacks that one away. Bain's got a touch, so if it goes out, it goes for the throw-in. But Tony Mackin covering. Pressure coming from Crown, takes it away from him nicely. Looking for the cross-in now. And that was Dave Sorella coming to the rescue for Walsall. Disappearing over into what used to be the old laundry here. The referee has signalled for another ball, and Walsall a bit loath to provide one. And the cost of them these days, I don't blame the club. So here's the corner from Silkman, and a shot. Bang! A beauty! Absolute cracker! Paul Walker. That was as good a goal as you'll see this season. It's his second goal of the season, in fact, scored in the League Cup. But what a screamer that was. Beautiful little corner, rolled in, he hits it first time just inside the post. Goalkeeper's got no chance with that. 1-0 Brentford. Just over 3 minutes gone. Well, there's a shock for Walsall fans. And this young, fairly inexperienced... it's an own goal! Disaster for Hill! Mark Hill, 4 minutes gone, and poor Mark Hill. Well, Brentford have a reputation for that on this ground. Pat Cruz scored an own goal here the last time Brentford played on the ground, and Hill, he picked his spot beautifully, didn't he? Just under the bar, 1-0. Poor Mark Hill. Silkman on for Herlock. Crown, if Mackin doesn't get there first, and he didn't. Here's Crown taking on Baines. On the left foot, the cross. And he was just so close. Freeman got a touch. Well, I was saying, you're going to watch this David Crown. I think a lot of clubs will be lining up to watch him before long. And the way he gets this onto the left peg. Makes the space for the shot. And Freeman just got fingertips to it as it goes past the far post. And Danny Salmon hits the free kick in the direction of Booker. That'll come down for Crown. Tempting and teasing. Oh yes, that was a skid in. Funnel, and then it was Herlock arrived late. But once again, this fella Crown, David Crown, the man who creates it all, is giving Mackin a nightmare. Funnel's trying to steal in on the near post. First time shot, and Herlock off balance as he tried to knock in the rebound. Here's Moore. Attacking Harris, who's biding his time. Goes to Buckley, dogged by Salmon. Little ball into space, where Baines is. Now Mackin. A nice clearance, and Booker left it to Crown. He left it to Booker. Baines helps him up, gives him a throw in anyway. Crown, back to Hill. Nobody challenging Hill. Funnel coming away from Serrera, the ball in low for Booker. Oof! How did that skid through then? I think Freeman did very well at the last moment to spot that. It was Funnel feeding it in. And now here's Booker, the challenge from Moore. It came off Moa's leg, actually, so Freeman did extra well. Waddington in. Baines. Now Hart. O'Sullivan going down the right. Delayed it, but the ball is back to Mackin. As the cross, Cruz is in, so is McDonough. McDonough jumping well against the challenger Cruz. Got a good solid forehead to the ball, but not on target. There's Mackin's cross. McDonough kept a good run at that, but he was in fact well wide. That's Baines. Mackin, through ball which Penn is chasing for. All out corner. Pat Cruz. Pat Cruz, Midlands born. Started over at Filbert Street with Leicester. Here's the corner from O'Kelly. Baines attacking on the far post. Serrella very nearly got there. That was a bit dodgy. That's the corner in. And on the back post, big centre half Baines gets a touch. There's Serrella. Wide with the target in front of him. Booker. Now, is that ball going to stay in for Crown? Yes, it is. Funnel skidding away, trying to lose his marker. There goes Funnel! That was an important boot that Kenny Mauer stuck out then, because this short striker, Tony Funnel, when he goes in, he tries to make contact every time. Again, the good running of Crown. And there's Funnel, and that was an important challenge by Mauer. Walker now getting across, the ball out from Baines. Buckley losing himself. Walker's there again, driving it. Well, that was a good one. Bang on target from Paul Walker, scorer of the Brentford goal. He doesn't hang about. Former England schoolboy, he saw the gap, hammered the ball right down the slot for goalkeeper Freeman. That's Waddington knocking it forward, cut out by Salmon. O'Kelly. McCulloch, no problems there. Baines down, Hurlock up, Baines again. McCulloch didn't make contact. Booker being pushed in the back by Dave Sorella. Free kick to Brentford. I'm feeling the strength of the wind has dropped quite considerably this last 10-15 minutes. Silkman takes the kick. That was Hill. He scored! Now that's made his day. Just like Pat Cruz on this ground. The last time Brentford were here, Mark Hill has scored for both sides. 2-1 it is to Brentford. 28 minutes of the second half gone. And all the memories of their own goal in the first half erased for Mark Hill. First time shot, squeezes it in on the near post. 2-1. Well, isn't that remarkable? Last time Brentford were here, 7th of April, 79. Pat Cruz scored for both sides then, in a match which Brentford won 3-2. And here we've got Mark Hill doing the same thing this afternoon, with the scoreline 2-1 to Brentford. Silkman is after this. Support from Hurlock's run. Deep Quadros cross for Booker. Ah, yes, and Funnel is there. 3-1 it is. That was the old-fashioned stuff. Bomb ball for the far post. The big target man gets there, and the little wee fella picks up the crumbs. Silkman sends Hurlock on his way. Look at this ball for the far post. The target man there, Booker, knocks it down. Goalkeeper's nowhere. Funnel, ping. Beautiful goal. 3-1. Well worked. McDonough. Here's Hart. Must blast one. Did. Hit the post. Deserved better. Walsall could have done with a lot more of that sort of enterprise earlier in the game. There's Mackin in low for Buckley. And he's buried that one. Little fella does it again. And totally deserved. Brentford had gone off to sleep for a couple of minutes. A tremendous shot from Hart that deserved to score that hit the post. And then Alan Buckley is in there like a flash. Half chance, edge of the box. Bang, and it's 3-2. Well, there's time. There's 5 minutes left. Oh, and a bad kick out. Rechecking on the score. 3-2, and in fact there's just 2 minutes left. Oh, hitting that hard and high. McDonough getting the touch. Buckley goes in. Goalkeeper's got it. Lost it. Penn lost it again. Waddington hit the bar. Ay, ay, ay. Well, there was excitement. There was an equaliser in what, 3 shots there, one way and another. Here's the ball that started it up. Hard in. McDonough knocks it down. There goes Buckley. Didn't quite get there. Goalkeeper missed it. That was Penn's shot. And here's Waddington's. And Brentford just stood and watched it.
Still, it was a win for Brentford by 3-2, their second win this season. And what a day for Brentford's Mark Hill, who scored at both ends, one he'll never forget.
I think I remember this for a long time. A lot of things happened, really. It wasn't one of my best games, but I scored 2 goals, one at each end.
Well, let's see the good news and the bad news, and start off with the bad news. Let's see that goal again.
Well, Barry Siltman chipped it back. I don't think he hit it properly as he wanted, and it just came to me. I thought I'd just knock it back to Paul, and I think I hit it just a bit too hard, and I couldn't believe it when it just sailed over his head into the net.
And did you actually lost your bearings at that stage?
Well, at the time I thought it was just a simple knock back. Just come off a little bit harder than I expected and just sailed over.
Right, Mark, tell us about the good news now.
Oh, well, that goal was Barry Siltman just chipped it in from the right on a free kick. It just came to me on my right foot. I just sort of swung my leg at it and it went in. It's not my best striking foot, but I was really amazed when it went in.
And that changed the whole course of the game?
Yes, yeah. It's a free kick we've worked in training, but more hitting the first man. And it came past the first man onto me and just stuck it away.
Well, I know you're an apprentice at Queen's Park Rangers with Clive Allen. You can tell him a bit about goal scoring now.
Yeah, watch that one, Clive. You might learn a bit.
Well, it was a happy ending at any rate. Now it's time for the national news with Jim Rosenthal.
Brian, we must start with Kevin Keegan's first league goal since his return to British football. It was a pretty simple tap-in just before half-time that put Southampton 3 up against Birmingham. Graham Baker and Mike Channon the other scorers. 3-1 the result, but Keegan hurt in the game, and he'd have come off if the Southampton substitute hadn't already been used. Keegan could have an injured hamstring, and he might not play at Watford on Tuesday. Plenty of goals around in the First Division today. Nottingham Forest leading the way with 5 against Stoke City, and they've already got the worst defensive record in the league. Gary Birtles, still on the transfer list, got a couple, and so did Ian Wallace. They're his first goals for Forest. Liverpool ridiculed the suggestion that they're declining with a 4-1 win over Norwich. But more problems at Leeds for manager Jimmy Adamson. Leeds beaten by Leicester 2-1 at Elland Road, and then, not for the first time, a crowd of fans surrounded the manager's office. In the end, they had to be cleared away by mounted police. And Arfon Griffiths, the Wrexham manager, he's in trouble of a different kind after being dismissed from the dugout late in the match against Oldham. Griffiths disagreed with the refereeing decision, and then he said too much. A mixed day for Steve McKenzie of Manchester City. His own goal gave Middlesbrough the lead, but his equaliser earned City a point. And a mixed day too for Lincoln. Goalkeeper Colin Bolton broke his leg. Midfield man David Hughes was sent off, but Lincoln still won 3-0 at Crewe, and they're the 4th Division leaders this evening. And a real Roy of the Rovers story to finish, appropriately enough, at Blackburn. Player-manager Howard Kendall broke the net with a penalty kick against Shrewsbury, and his team went to the top of the 2nd Division.
And that's the way to do it. Still to come tonight, though, some sparkling football as Ipswich face Everton. We're going to meet Frank Stapleton of Arsenal as we look in more detail at the performances of the teams in our area with the big match classified. But that comes up after this break. And welcome back. Our third game today gives us a chance to sample the exciting stuff and the goals that are such a feature of the First Division this season. Ipswich against Everton is the game. The pictures are from Anglia Television and our commentator, Gerry Harrison.
Portman Road, and the Suffolk supporters expect that Ipswich will prove a point or two here against Everton, one of the richest clubs in the country. Well, Ipswich, with 9 full internationals here, have got the ability to win something big. Whether they've got the consistency and the luck, we'll just have to wait and see. This, though, is the perfect time to prove it after a terrible performance in the League Cup at Middlesbrough. What's going to be the reaction here? With George Burley back in defence after recurring ankle trouble. He's got a bit of a stomach bug at the moment, but he does make a tremendous difference down that right-hand side. Alan Brazil is also back after injury, so this means that it's a full-strength Ipswich side, the one which did so well in the second half of last season. Well, Everton have the money, the crowd potential, the tradition, but they can't seem to put it together. After struggling last season, manager Gordon Lee is giving youth a fling. Players like 18-year-old Steve McMahon, hardly wet behind his First Division ears, faces in midfield an aggressive Scot and 2 highly expressive Dutchmen. What are his chances? But Everton, or 6 of this side at least, showed that they do have a backbone when they knocked Ipswich out of the Cup last year. Bob Latchford, in dispute with the club for most of last season, set that victory in motion, and he's got the experience to test younger Ipswich defenders here. And the referee today is Mike Taylor, former Royal Marine. He comes from Kent, and he says conditions out there after a brief rainstorm are pretty well perfect. Well, among the spectators today, England manager Ron Greenwood to announce his squad for the World Cup qualifying game against Norway on September the 10th. So we're off, and it's Ipswich in the darker strip. The side who have picked up 5 points out of the first 6, smarting perhaps a little from last Tuesday's defeat, mindful that a bit of casualness against Everton in the Cup last season ended a dream or two. And the flag is up here for offside against the number 8 Eastoe over there, playing up front with Bob Latchford, with McBride on this side. Into Gates, McMahon behind him. And Mariner slipped over, that's why the ball couldn't be dispatched that much quicker. Now the marking is pretty tight. Murin driven back, Butcher forward, but only to right. Oh, and Brazil's in on that one. Well, against Sunderland in the first game of the season, Everton apparently made 3 crucial mistakes in defence. Mills in here to Gates, McMahon behind him. Gates likes to turn people, but prevented there as Mills gets a bit of freedom. Up goes Walk. No, it's Mariner now. Mariner again. Tyson once more. Driven wide and out. And Everton hang on by the skin of their teeth. Well, a couple of chances there to drive them in, blocked by legs and bodies, and there's Brazil, and he's got that one in. McDonough got his fingers to it, but it wasn't enough, and direction rather than power counted, and Brazil with the breakthrough. Well, a nice bit of play over on that far-hand side. Gates here able to get hold of it, turn it on to the far post, and not a very big fella, but a neat little jump, and the goalkeeper couldn't touch it far enough wide. 1-0. So a fine start then for Ipswich. Only 12 minutes gone, and the breakthrough already there as Mariner is looking to get past Lyons. And a volley, what a shot from Walk. John Walk really rifled that one past McDonough. No chance for him. A goal within 18 seconds of a restart. Absolutely magnificent. Real championship touch there, particularly from John Walk. It's his 4th goal of the season. That one will certainly be worth seeing again. It's pumped straight out to Mariner on his flank, straight in to Walk. It's a difficult height. He comes in like a steam train. Whack, the volley is almost shoulder high and beautifully controlled. Asa Hartford looking for one forward to Latchford. No, it was Eastoe challenging, but the foul was given against Butcher. Free kick to Everton, who've gained a little bit of possession in the last 5 minutes without actually enjoying it. The big fellas are up though, right on this side of the penalty area. Lyons on the far side. Latchford obviously is there too. Wright gets in there, but it's Burley and Cooper. Burley taking it away well. Hartford has it, given away to Mills. In goes Brazil, but it's a challenge from McMahon that wins it for Eastoe. And Mariner ran into trouble. And Everton biting a good bit harder here as the rain continues to teem down. And that's a nice ball forward from Burley to Mariner. He's got Brazil over the far side and Gates supporting him. Mariner's shot. Only an inch or so wide, and it's significant that his colleagues are congratulating him for having a go, because he had the Everton defence in 2 minds. Should he go for a tackle and while they were making up their minds, he drove in a very powerful shot just wide. McBride and Hartford, lovely play. Sitting Mariner on his pants. Great play by Hartford there. And they're looking a little bit sharper here, Everton. McBride, away by Mills. McMahon. Good drive. Oh, brilliant effort. And it rebounded off the post and hit Cooper. Oh, Steve McMahon so very, very close to his first league goal. Just shimmies inside Tyson. A powerful drive. Cooper hadn't got it. The post saves him, and then the rebound saved again. The play held up while Mariner gets some attention from physiotherapist Tommy Eggleston. Looks like a hand injury. Closing minute of the first half as Hartford knocks it out, but only to Burley, and Burley perhaps a bit lucky to get a second go. And there goes Burley forward here. Ratcliffe with him. Tyson behind him. In for Mariner. Gracious me, that would have been a great one. Stretching for the volley. Could never get right over the top of it. But certainly goalkeeper Jim McDonald didn't see that as it whistled over his goal. Hartford looking for the neat one in for McBride, but the big lurking figure of Butcher was behind him. So that's another corner. We've had well over a minute of time added on in the first half, and Everton have had some near success from these corners. This time it's a short one, but the linesman doesn't like it. It's going to have to be retaken by Asa Hartford, with again Mick Lyons on the near post. Joe McBride is still quite close to Hartford, but he delays too long, and that's the end of the first half. So half-time score is 2-0 to Ipswich. It's rained throughout the first 45 minutes, but for Ipswich they've had a lot to smile about, because they had a superb purple patch of play in which Alan Brazil scored the first one for them after a cross by Mariner. Then Mariner crossed again for John Walk to power in a superb volley to give them that 2-0 lead. But then McMahon, this 18-year-old, hit the post and was a little bit unlucky, showed that the game isn't over yet, and Everton certainly have something to say before the next 45 minutes are finished. Welcome back to Portman Road. It's Ipswich leading by 2-0. Let's go immediately to the Ipswich manager, Bobby Robson. Bobby, what was your verdict of the first half?
Well, Gerry, I think to be perfectly fair and honest, we've had a bit of a touse in the last 20 minutes. I mean, we were two lovely goals, which put us in the driving seat, and we've really fallen asleep on that, simply because the midfield, and when I talk about the midfield, I'm talking about Muren, Walk and Tyson, coupled with Eric Gates, who's sort of playing from the midfield as a striker, but their seven who is marking Gates is you know, once we lose the ball, he's disengaging from Eric and coming and playing and releasing one or two other players. And as a result, they are now controlling the midfield through Gidman, who's obviously adventurous, and the other three midfield players. And that is where the bulk of our trouble is, and has been for the last half hour of the match.
Mills getting away from Gary Stanley. He's got Brazil on the left-hand side and Muren just behind him. Tyson square. Butcher now. Mariner wants one forward into the space, and he's got it. And he's not offside. Mariner here. Oh, and wide. That surely would have been the goal that wrapped it up for Ipswich. Well, Mariner asked for this ball to be played forward. He got it. Everton had tons of time to play themselves into that offside trap. They didn't do it very well, and he had it look pretty fair amount of time to knock it past the goalkeeper, which he did. And the man going on for Everton is Eamon O'Keefe, midfield player. Coming off is Gary Stanley. Eamon O'Keefe is £25,000 from non-league Mossley. He only had 3 games last season, so he's got quite a lot to learn at this level. Butcher's still up there. Muren against Hartford. Oh, and Hartford wins that one well. Now Ipswich are in a bit of trouble because they've got defenders committed into attacking positions here. Asa Hartford. Good shot, but the goalkeeper was well placed. He said, all right, here I am, beat me, and he couldn't. Well, Ipswich continued to back off there, and one wondered, had they done it too much? Because it left Asa Hartford with a chance to get a shot in, but there's the goalkeeper, he's well placed. There goes Burley forward, taking somebody with him, of course. Gates in for Walk. Here's Brazil. Room now for Muren to cross one. It's not a bad one either. Mariner gets one back. Almost anyhow, and it's put out for a corner. Good competitive play there by Paul Mariner on the far post. But looking still for his first goal of the season. Muren's kick. Butcher again on the near post. Butcher. Touched in. Whistled into the back of the net. McDonough got a hand to it, but it wasn't enough. The big fella lurking dangerously on that near post. He got it, and that could finish it off. Muren's kick. Butcher the touch. And a head, not a hand, but a goal just the same. So Butcher makes it 3-0, his first goal of the season, the goal certainly that Ipswich Town wanted, and that must end at last the considerable resistance that Everton have put up. Well, naturally enough, Everton could lose a bit of heart here. Osman, nicely done. A controlled header to Tyson. Brazil going forward, but having to check back now. Neat play. And out there is Burley, but I don't think Alan Brazil fancied that one too much. But here's Mariner trying to get away from Lyons. Walker's gone up in the centre-forward position. There goes Mills past him. In for Muren. Mariner here. Beautiful goal. A touch of class and quality about that one. Well, Mariner here says, OK, if you want it, come and get it. But I'm going for the old one too. And he gets a delightful through pass from Arnold Buren. Then the narrowest of angles, in goes his first goal of the season, and 4-0 for Ipswich. Offside again. And the game petering out here in the series of stoppages. Nice touch in by Mariner, but it wasn't enough. But certainly, as far as most of the spectators are concerned, 4-0 to Ipswich is enough.
Indeed, that's a victory that puts Ipswich at the top of the First Division tonight, with 7 points out of the first 8, and with 9 goals scored and only 2 conceded. Southampton and Aston Villa also with 7 points, and then Sunderland, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham and Arsenal all with 5. Well, the Sunday papers have arrived, and these are some of the headlines that'll go down with the eggs and bacon tomorrow morning. The Sunday Mirror boldly proclaimed Kevin Keegan's first goal for Southampton. Maybe influenced, I don't know, by the fact that he's a regular contributor for the paper. They also say, incidentally, that Arsenal are in for Andy King of Everton, and that talks are likely this week. However, tonight we've spoken to the Arsenal manager Terry Neal. He denies any approach for Andy King, or indeed for the West German international Herbert Neumann of Cologne. Neumann apparently is attracting attention from Wolves. Meanwhile, the Sunday Express talk of hooligans at the Arsenal-Spurs game. That's a bit of a pity, because they would have to spoil things again when there's so much that's good in the First Division this season. They also tell us, the Sunday Express, that Ipswich have rapped out a warning. Well, we've just seen that for ourselves, and they point out also that you've seen for yourself that the England manager Ron Greenwood was there in the crowd at Portman Road. Well, now it's time to look in more detail at the performances of the league clubs in this area as we come to the Big Match Classified.
The North London derby attracted the day's biggest crowd, more than 54,000 to Highbury, where Arsenal continued their recent domination over Tottenham. Arsenal winning 2-0, that's 6 out of the last 7 derbies for the Gunners. Graham Rix made them both in the second half, a header from David Price, and then Frank Stapleton on target again. Well, Frank came in to see us on his way home. A goal in every game, 5 in all. How does he explain this explosive start to the season?
I don't know, the chances have just been coming my way. I was a little bit lucky last week with my goal. It just hit me from a free kick. But the other ones, my finishing has been a bit better, I think. I've relaxed more, and they've gone in for me.
I think it must be a little bit more than having the run of the ball this season. But tell us a bit about the goal this afternoon at Highbury.
Well, Graham Rix got the ball inside our half on the left. I think he won the tackle with somebody. I came short with the ball, and I think John Lacey came tight. And when he thought, I just spun, ran onto the ball. The keeper did come out and wasn't sure. I didn't think he was going to get there. And I took my time then and just lobbed it over him into the net.
You mentioned Graham Rix there, and I think he and Pat Jennings both had very good games for you this afternoon.
Yeah, Big Pat kept us in the game in the first half. We were being a bit overrun, and he made 1 or 2 saves, which I think the Tottenham supporters even clapped, you know. But we were, as I say, a bit fortunate to be still level at half-time, but it was a different story second half. I felt that the game was just a game of 2 halves, where we took our chances and they didn't. Well, of course, they didn't have Pat Jennings in goal.
To many people in North London, these are the 2 games that matter, aren't they? How much does it mean as a player for you to have beaten Tottenham?
Well, it's tremendous, you know. I don't think I've ever been on the losing side against Tottenham. It's great for the supporters, and they're the ones that put the pressure on us to win. Friends of mine are Arsenal supporters, and of course they're getting cheered up by Tottenham supporters who they meet in their daily routine. And you know, I mean, there's no bitterness between the players, but everybody wants to win, and it is a little bit special when it's a derby, you know.
This time last week, Don Howard stormed out of Coventry and said some very harsh things to you. Had you to do extra training last Sunday? What's happened in the last week, briefly?
Well, Don, you know, had a right go. We've worked harder this week than, you know, it's probably as hard now than we did in pre-season. But I think it's made us a little bit sharper. We've got 2 good results, you know. But he's not going to let it go at that. I think he'll be just as stern with us next week. It'll be pretty hard. But if we keep getting results like today, I don't think there'll be any problem there.
That's Frank Stapleton, whose former Arsenal colleague Paul Barron's having a pretty tough time at Crystal Palace. Palace must really be wondering about their defence after losing 2-0 at Wolves. They've conceded 11 goals so far, and only Stoke have let in more. And Alan Mullery, the Brighton manager, is very unhappy about West Bromwich Albion's winner at the Goldstone. Gary Owen bent a free kick. West Brom won 2-1. And Mullery had warned goalkeeper Graham Mosley that Owen would do just that. Mullery said, "If people won't listen to me, I'll make changes." In Division 2, West Ham produced their best form so far, beating Notts County 4-0. Paul Goddard got 2 of those goals, and the second described by manager John Lyle as the best he's seen for a long time. David Cross and Ray Stewart were the penalty, the other scorers. Watford won as well. Martin Patching's late goal finally broke down Bristol City at Vicarage Road. But Luton lost 2-1 at Newcastle after Brian Steen had given them an early lead. First league defeat for Orient, 4-2 at Cardiff. Steve Parsons and Billy Jennings, the Orient scorers, this in a game of the highest quality. In the third division, Martin Robinson celebrated his 100th appearance for Charlton with his 4th goal of the season against Burnley. And Charlton stay in the top 3 after winning 2-0. Phil Walker got the first. Reading's impressive start continued with a 4-1 win over Swindon. Earls, Webb, Bowman and Dixon getting those goals. And let's just have a look at the top of the third division. It really is very encouraging. Portsmouth there with a 100% record. Charlton unbeaten in 3rd place. Reading are 5th, and Fulham, after their point against Hull last night, are 6th. Moving lower down the league, Nick Chatterton's late goal for Millwall was enough to beat Chester at the Den, but Gillingham lost 2-0 at Chesterfield. In Division 4, Phil Driver's second-half goals earned Wimbledon their first away win for 9 matches at Scunthorpe. The Dons winning 2-1, but Aldershot lost 1-0 at Wigan, this to a 44th-minute goal from Jeff Wright. We've got one result for you tonight from Division 4, Torquay 2, Bournemouth 0. Bourne and Fell, the scorers there. The pools news, and there could be some fortunes around this weekend. There are 9 score draws, numbers 7, 8, 13, 15, 19, 37, 39, 48 and 51, and 3 no-score draws, 30, 32 and 40.
Well, that's it. Dividends high. Hope you've enjoyed the action tonight and the 11 goals we've been able to bring you. Certainly, in the first division, the skills and the excitement are just what the game needs right now. But it's when we went into the second and third divisions that we got the real storybook stuff. It took a bit of doing, but 19-year-old Mark Hill scored at both ends for Brentford at Walsall, and Tommy Langley made it a day to remember for him by scoring against his old teammates for QPR at Chelsea.
Played there for Langley. Just look how closely Nutten, who's marking him, has really stuck to that job well. Faraday, Waddock, and Shanks playing it in there towards Langley.